Hi everyone, Susan Storm here. I'm the founder of Psychology Junkie and a certified MBTI practitioner, and today I want to talk about what introverted feeling really is. If you have been on the fence about whether you use introverted feeling or extroverted feeling, introverted feeling or introverted thinking, this is where you want to be. We're going to go over 10 really obvious signs that this is one of your primary cognitive functions. If you are an ENFP, ESFP, INFP, or ISFP, this is your primary decision-making function. This is what you use when you're trying to decide which course to take in life. So let's go ahead and get into those 10 signs that you're an introverted feeling type. Number 1, authenticity is crucial to you. You very strongly believe in being genuine and sincere in everything that you do. You do not like to bend or mold yourself to other people's expectations, rules, and agendas. Instead, you firmly believe in marching to the beat of your own drum, even if that ruffles a few feathers. Number 2, you get gut feelings very quickly. You may not be able to describe these feelings, but you get a sense in your heart, sometimes in your stomach, that something is or isn't right, that there's something that just doesn't feel ethically good to you. And you may not always be able to delineate that in words, but you sense it. And this gut feeling, these instincts guide you through life. You are constantly looking inward to ask yourself, does this feel right to me? Is there anything inside me that's saying don't go here, or yes, go here? Number 3, you tend to be more private about your deeper feelings. So extroverted feeling types tend to need to bounce their feelings off of other people to find clarity. Extroverted feeling is literally putting the feelings out there. And when they do that, they hope to understand them better. So what's very common with extroverted feeling types, so these are the feeling judging personality types, is that when they're going through something emotionally, they'll look for someone to talk to express themselves to. And then as they're talking to that other person, their emotions start to make more sense to them. Whereas introverted feeling types need to pull away and have private, quiet time to process those feelings, and that's where they get more clarity rather than having to, express their feelings out loud. And introverted feeling types tend to be very careful and guarded about their deeper inner feelings. Unless they know they can really deeply trust someone, they will not be an open book. Next, number 4, you are very individualistic. This can show up specifically in the way you dress, in the music you like, in the career choices you make. You do not believe in following the crowd, and you don't want to be like everyone else. When you put on your clothes, you want something that really feels like it resembles you. You don't just look at what everyone else is wearing, what the popular trends are. You look at what styles really feel right to you, whether that's wearing a shirt with your favorite anime characters on it or getting a certain tattoo that has symbolic meaning. It's really crucial to you to feel like everything about you is a genuine expression of who you are and not something that you're just doing because everyone else is doing it. Number 5, you don't want to force your values on other people. As an introverted feeling type, you believe that what you believe is right for you is your own personal perspective, and it's your own personal experience, and you believe that everyone has their own unique journey. Carl Jung, the father of psychological types, said, the introverted feeling type, their outward demeanor is harmonious and inconspicuous, giving an impression of pleasing repose or of sympathetic response, with no desire to affect others, to impress, influence, or change them in any way. As an introverted feeling type, you really don't like the idea of trying to change who someone is or impose what you think is right onto them. The only times you'll do this is if someone is deeply violating one of your strongly held personal values and it's having an effect on others. For example, if you see someone bullying someone else, well, you may have a personal value around treating people with respect. So in that case, that person who's doing the bullying is negatively impacting someone else and violating one of your core values. So at that point, you might get really fired up and become a protector. But if people just have different perspectives about things, you're not one to try to push your agenda on them. Introverted feeling doesn't want to change people in any way. That's what Carl Jung said, and I've seen this to be true with introverted feeling types. This doesn't mean they won't fight for a cause they believe in. It doesn't mean they won't speak out against injustice. But it does mean that in one-to-one situations and group situations, if the person who has different values is not hurting anyone else, they're usually going to just leave it alone. All right, number 6. On the outside, you may appear very easygoing and laid back, but on the inside, you have very strong convictions. So IFPs, the introverted feeling perceiving types, tend to have a very reserved, almost stoic demeanor. They aren't these really just like warm, effusive types that we often associate with feeling types. They're very private. They tend to have a live and let live approach. They tend to, like I said, not try to change people. They don't really try to organize everyone and get them moving towards a specific goal. They are very laid back, but at the same time there are really strong convictions that they hold very dearly, and they have a lot of really rich inner emotions, and a lot of times you just can't see it from the outside. While they may look very reserved and quiet, there's often a lot going on inside, but many times they express this inner emotional world through a creative form, whether that's writing, art, music, dance. There's so many ways they try to express this, but it's usually not, their inner emotions are not usually extremely evident on their faces. This is for the IFPs. EFPs, even though still they are very easygoing and tend to have a very live and let live approach to life, they can become very fired up in defense of the values that they hold dear. So it's not unusual for them to go from being very chill, very calm, and then flipping a switch and really getting, really getting outspoken about something they believe in. I knew an ESFP who was really invested in politics, and we were all sitting around having this really nice casual dinner, and suddenly the conversation turned to politics. And the more she talked about it, the more animated she got, the more loud she got, the more pretty soon other people from other tables were kind of scooting over and joining the conversation. And yes, she wanted everyone to be able to have their say. She wasn't trying to say her political opinion was the only right one, but she was expressing herself. And normally, you wouldn't think that she would do something like this. She seemed very, very chill, very spontaneous, very focused on just having a good atmosphere with everyone. But this was something she got really outspoken and passionate about. So they can flip a switch really quick like that. All right. Number 7. You dislike critiquing others. So feeling types are famous for really hating criticism, and a lot of times this shows up in trying to very tactfully give criticism. And so introverted feeling types will tend to try to be as honest as possible because they don't want to betray their authenticity, but they will try to express any criticism as gently as they possibly can, and they tend to need some time afterwards to just recuperate because they just really hate doing it. They hate the idea of judging someone else's work. They don't want to be put in a position where they're going to have to judge someone else's work. They tend to avoid supervisory positions where that kind of a thing is just going to have to be a natural part of the job. All right, number 8. You crave freedom if you're an introverted feeling type. You need creative freedom. You need freedom to explore, to be yourself. You don't like a lot of rigid rules, structures, and routines. You need to feel like if your heart is guiding you in one direction, you have the freedom to be able to follow it. So many introverted feeling types tend to enjoy jobs that are entrepreneurial, that allow them to, remote working from home jobs where they have a little bit of freedom to incorporate their own lifestyle preferences into their career and not have to conform to a really strict, rigid structure. All right, number 9, you are deeply empathetic. So you may not absorb other people's emotions like feeling judging types are apt to do, but you can immediately put yourselves in other people's shoes. You have a rich database of emotional history inside of you, and you retain all this memory associated with your emotions. And so when someone's talking to you about a struggle that they're going through, you can immediately find a similar situation inside yourself to pull from in order to empathize with that other person. And you can very, very quickly feel like you understand what someone else is going through. And so this gives you a lot of empathy. You are very concerned with making sure that other people feel heard and listened to, which brings us to number 10. You are very good at active listening. Introverted feeling types, especially dominant introverted feeling types, IFPs, are some of the very best listeners. Neuroscience expert Dario Nardi said they are the consummate listeners. Their minds quiet down when they listen to other people's, and instead of trying to formulate a response while the other person is listening, they try to be fully present with the other person. And Dario Nardi was able to see this in EEG brain scans conducted on introverted feeling types and other personality types, and he was able to see this difference. And if you want to find out more about that, you can always check out Dario Nardi's book, Neuroscience of Personality. So these are just 10 signs that you are an introverted feeling type. There's much more on my website about introverted feeling. If you would like to check that out, you can go to psychologyjunkie.com. I would love to see you there. And if you have a comment or question, feel free to leave one. I will be happy to answer you. And if you're an INFP, you can always check out my ebook, The INFP Understanding the Dreamer. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.